The Kansas City Chiefs literally dropped the game of the year, and this is what happens when you don't fix your own problems. This is exactly the symptom that we've been talking about forever. It all showed up tonight, the good and the bad, and something that I think really, really can get them over the hump. But tonight, it's just a fumble all the way around for the Kansas City Chiefs. Welcome to RGR Football. We're live post-game. Put the women and children to bed because I am a little pissed off. This was difficult to watch in the second half. Dan Harms is with me. He's going to try to talk some sense into me, but quite honestly, we're trying not to trigger him either. So
I'm really not.
Welcome in tonight.
Yeah, I'm not going to be doing anybody any favors tonight. We're going to be I told Ryan right before, MVS cut tomorrow. I'm done. I'm absolutely done. And I'll say it in the first 1 minute of the show. He needs to be cut tomorrow. You had lead the league in drops. You had the game-winning touchdown in your hands, and it wasn't like he was interfered with. It wasn't like he was pulled. He had it in both hands and then went, oh, I'm going to throw it behind me. That's what happened. Patrick Mahomes putting the football exactly where it needs to be for his wide receivers to catch it. And guess what? How many drops did they have tonight? 5, 6? And Mahomes was putting it right on the money.
Yeah. And MVS literally dropped the game away, but he wasn't alone. That was the worst one because of the timing. It wasn't the worst one overall. And Knicks fan, he completely agrees with you. It's time for him to go. Ben, thanks for the super chat. You guys, we are going to deal with all your questions as we work through our notes tonight. If you want to see my notes in your hand, be able to download them on PDF, go ahead and hit the join button right now. Join at the rookie level or above. You can get my game notes tomorrow. It sucks. It is bad. This was a tale of two halves. Yet again, another failure in the second half. And when I say failure, I mean failure. Absolute failure because you had it all working. I was trying not to get overexcited. I put a couple of things on Twitter, but I didn't go overboard because they were doing it right. It started out well. Their plan was working. And then poof, somebody got cocky at halftime. I don't know who it was. I don't care, but there's no other way to explain it because there's no other thing to see that the whole offense just says, we got this. The defense played their asses off the entire time, kept them in the ball game. Trent McDuffie nearly by his damn self. I mean, let's be real.
Almost.
I mean, if that pass had been just a little bit more backwards to Devontae Smith, that's a turnover, and he'd have had it. Like, at this point, no offense to Chris Jones, who had a great first half as well. Trent McDuffie's the MVP of this defense right now. As far as I can tell.
There's zero question about it in my mind. He's everywhere. He sees everything. He's just doing everything right. And he's still making things happen when he's falling down to the ground. And then he just puts a hand up. He's like, I'm going to immerse the passer, stop really quickly, and then just throw a hand in the air and then get a deflection.
And it was the offhand.
Yeah,
he was rushing with left shoulder front. He brought the right one around. It was ridiculous.
He's insane. So I'm with you there. And yeah, Chris Jones had himself a fantastic game. Second half adjustments. I said it at halftime. This is when the game begins, the second half adjustments. And I was absolutely right because they lost the game because they couldn't adjust after the second half. They couldn't adjust. The defense did a good job. The Eagles offense said, you guys want to blitz us a bunch? We're going to take advantage of that. And they did. They took advantage of it and they scored points. The Chiefs offense just knew it's like they should have known they were going to try to stop the run. So maybe instead of running the ball initially, play action pass them. You should have had that in your bag. You should have had that in your bag to begin with, and instead, here we are. But then, holding penalties, offside penalties, penalties galore. So much nonsense. So much nonsense. I was very close.
Hey, well done. For those of you watching with your kids, we'll try to keep it steady. Ben, to answer your question, and thank you for the super chat. You guys, every super chat gets an answer tonight. Charles, welcome to the memberships. Appreciate you. The reason is trust. And you can see Andy was pissed off at Watson too, because that trust is supposed to be earned there. You're supposed to know where the hell you're supposed to be. There are multiple times in my notes where literally it was Watson screws up and the next play he makes a nice play, or he makes a great catch and then he drops the next ball. It's nuts. The fact that the guy who's most targeted, I could even give MVS a little bit of an understanding because he wasn't targeted the most. He wasn't in a rhythm. It was Watson that kept dropping the damn ball when he's the guy getting the most targets. It's ridiculous. And you're right, Knicks fan. While I'm going off, let's not forget Travis coughed the ball up as well. So all things in the second half, the drops, the turnover, the penalties on the tackles, I mean, quite frankly, Donovan Smith looked absolutely lost for
Awful.
3 straight drives in the first half.
Awful.
It is impossible to win that way.
Yeah, and it's not even like. And Patrick, the red zone interception he threw, he never even looked at Byard. He was baiting him the whole time. He was like, "I'm going to let Justin Watson go here," and he did. You want to know why? Because you're going to have to float it. There's a linebacker right here. I'm going to have so much time to just pick this ball off. Pat never looked there. He never looked ever.
And honestly, that ball's got to be. It's got to be fired and it's got to be high where Watson can get it. He's the guy who can climb the ladder.
Either. Like, that's the thing.
He
couldn't throw it in there fast because of the linebacker sitting right there. He didn't have the opportunity to.
I don't think he had to dodge it that bad. I think he could have put more velocity on it and still had an arc on it that got it over the linebacker. And honestly, if you put that high into the outside where only Watson can go get it, I think it's enough of a room. Maybe I'm wrong and the linebacker takes it away, but the result's the same as what he just did by just gifting it to this deep safety from the far hash that came all the way across. Yes, I'm complaining a lot, folks, and we know we're trying to vent it and get it out in the beginning. We all like to do this. Welcome in. If you are new to this channel, this is Dan Harms. I'm Ryan Tracy. This is Ryan Going Rogue, and this is what we do. We're going to tell you how it is, whether it sounds nice or not, or whether you agree or not. We're going to tell you what we see, and this one I don't agree with. He's getting older.
The takeaway. This is not the takeaway.
And that's why I left it up there, because Travis made a mistake. Travis also made a couple of nice plays, and honestly, I think he got tweaked a little bit early on one angle early in the game. But this is an overreaction right here, and not to single you out there, Chief KT. Just like it's honestly, as pissed off as I am about the 2 wide receivers, the 2 veteran wide receivers. We'll talk about everybody else coming up here in a minute. I don't feel like that about Travis because I'm just not there. There's too much history. I do think, unfortunately, I think at his age, he let Hassan Reddick get in his head. I think it messed up his game a little bit, to tell you the truth. I don't know what was said, but it didn't go well.
You're not wrong, but also there's so much on Travis's plate. Travis has to be the only guy that does anything. He's the only one that can do anything. And when you stop him and you force other players to make the play, to make it happen, guess what? Every defense knows you don't have to do anything. The Chiefs are going to drop the ball. They're going to make penalties. You take Travis Kelce away, and they can't score. Or if they take the run away, like in the first half, the Chiefs came out, and they were like, we're going to run the ball. They did a good job. Second half, they said, hey, let's do the exact same thing and not adjust at all. Not do any wrinkle differently. And then you saw the Eagles say, hey, maybe if we just stop the run, they won't be able to do anything. And then we stop Travis Kelce. And then you saw exactly what happened. So this is awful. It's one of the worst wide receiver rooms in the NFL. But at the same time, you're playing 2 guys that shouldn't be playing very much. Again, Justin Watson was a practice squad player before he came to Kansas City. And yes, he's been impactful here. But what does that tell you about the rest of the players? They don't trust Sky Moore to play enough. They clearly didn't trust Rashee Rice because they didn't throw him the ball until the 4th quarter after his one catch where he made Darius Slay look like a fool. And here we are talking about this.
Yeah.
I don't even understand it.
And we're right back where we were. Feed Rice. Tony, for all his dancing around, he made a couple of nice things happen. Was it enough? Do I like him in the backfield? Not necessarily, but I will say this: the guy plays with abandon. They definitely took the leash off of Cadarius Tony because he was hitting dudes and he was allowing himself to be hit because he just didn't give it. And that is a good thing until he gets broken. So that's all I can say about that. Charles, welcome to the memberships. We appreciate you joining us. Let's see. Chiefster, how do you bottle up the confidence and the dominance of the first half and use it the rest of the season? That's a great question. And unfortunately, an old dog like Andy Reid has to have a few tricks to do that. I just don't know if they're lost in the bag somewhere or he just hasn't had the desperation to pull. It's time. Knicks fan, they need to decide on the receivers. Too many drops by Watson. Agreed. And I like Justin Watson. I've been fighting for him. But it's over. It's got to be even McCole Hardman tonight with a couple of minor targets made me feel more confident that he was actually going to do something with it. I can't say that you remove MVS and Watson from the offense, but it's got to be feed Rice. Honestly, Sky Moore, 2 targets. Had one nice play on one, feed the kid.
No, let's force 11 to Justin Watson. 11 targets to Justin Watson.
Yeah.
He dropped 3 of them, didn't he? He dropped 3 balls. He dropped 3 balls.
3 drops tonight, yes. That's a what? That's a 27% drop rate. That's redonkulous. That'll get you fired, or should.
I know that I should be like really upset. The Chiefs, in all actuality, should have blown out the Eagles. It should have been a blowout.
Yeah.
It should have been a blowout. But again, like, credit to the Eagles. They took advantage of everything that they did in the second half. They took advantage of the Chiefs not scoring, and they countered with those plays, specifically the screens to DeAndre Swift when they knew they were going after Jalen Hurts quite a bit, and then the adjustment on the blitzes when they saw that, and Jalen Hurts took it for the run. Like they had some really nice adjustments in the second half to catch the Chiefs defense off guard. And that's the big difference here, is the Chiefs defense prevented them from scoring 28 plus points, which is their average on the season. They average 28 points a game. So when your job as a defense is to take good offenses and make them unproductive as to what they normally are, you give your team a chance to win every single game. And this was so many missed opportunities for the Chiefs. And then you compound all of that with the drops in the penalties. That's the big thing. How many times did they start 1st and 20 holding or offsides? Like Travis got a hold. They had a couple offensive linemen with holds and false starts, and just so many times they're kicking themselves and starting behind the sticks, and they have to go to set to 1st and 10, 1st and 20 to get back to first down.
And let's be real.
Execution.
I'm counting 1, 2, 4, 5. At least 5 throws that, by my judgment, was now the receiver was on Patrick. So there is room to go around the entire offense. The only group that played consistently and played well all game long was the defense.
Yep.
The bread and butter, the strength of this roster should be the one that's putting out, and they're not. And Mohammed, you have a good point. He does do a lot of reps, a lot of tempo runs there, MVS. Getting paid too much for that, in my opinion.
Oh,
Mateo, thanks, buddy. I've been watching for 4 years now. Cheers to you, and welcome back. Glad you're here tonight.
Thank you.
I literally cannot stop. Anyways, what do you, Dan, think Trent McDuffie's absolute highest potential is, and do you think he can reach it? I think Trent McDuffie can be a lockdown, shutdown, top 2 corner in this league. Is he going to go battle Sauce? I think he can.
I don't think so. But that's because they don't use him that way. They don't use him as an outside guy. They use him in the slot, which is completely different than what Sauce does. And Sauce is just
but that doesn't mean that you can't be a shutdown guy. You don't have to be an outside corner to take away part of the field.
But realistically, he has more space to cover, and he doesn't cover all that space. He doesn't, and that's not his fault. It's really hard to be a slot corner in the NFL. But he changes the game for the Chiefs on defense because of everything he does. Coming down in the run game, in the screens, blitzing. He does all of it. That's something that, I mean, Sauce Gardner does not impact a lot. They don't blitz Sauce Gardner very much. He doesn't come downhill and get down after the run game as much. He's not afraid of it, but Trent McDuffie is used this way on purpose. He's not right. Sauce is not in the slot coming down and blitzing. Like, he's just not doing it. He's more impactful on the outside, and good to him. Like,
let me show you his line for the night.
It's nuts.
4 tackles, 2 sacks for minus 16 yards, a QB hit on top of it, 2 TFLs, those are actually the sacks, a pass defense, and a forced fumble. I mean, that sounds like an all-pro linebacker or something, right? Not your second-year nickel corner.
Yeah, right?
That's how good Trent McDuffie is.
He was so close to having that 5th fumble recovery. 5th fumble recovery. He's forced 5 fumbles this year.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, I was big on him while he was at UW. I had a friend that was able to be around the program before he came out. And he's like, hey, the kid's just really going to be special. He learns everything. He never said anything, and I never had any inkling that this kind of forced fumble production was anywhere in our future.
It's never on his tape. It was never on his tape. But Marston didn't use him in the slot, and they didn't blitz him off the corner. They didn't do anything.
He was always a 8-yard or more zone outside corner. Like, he never had an opportunity. Like, I wonder if Jimmy Lake's going, why the hell didn't I find out he could do this 4 years ago, right?
I just saw a tweet from Trey Wingo. 2 red zone turnovers, a league high 26 drops. The only team that can beat the Chiefs is the Chiefs.
Exactly.
The Chiefs beat themselves. Thank you, Trey. We've been saying it, and this is what happens when they don't execute. They beat themselves, and that's exactly what they did again. And I know that there's a comment saying, but none of this is on Mahomes. In the clutch time, no. Mahomes was putting the ball on the money for these receivers in clutch time. But earlier in the game, he did make some errors, some mistakes, and stepping out of the pocket. And a lot of it is offensive line driven. He doesn't feel safe in there a lot, too. The Eagles were getting some pressure in his face early in the game, and that kind of trickles back into getting out of the pocket a little bit. But in clutch time, fourth quarter, Patrick Mahomes was fantastic. And his receivers let him down in the biggest way.
Again.
Like a drop on 4th and 2, Sky Moore in the Broncos game. That's probably cost them that. I mean, it was one of those things that's a touchdown. You drop it. MVS in this game, you drop it. Possible game-winning touchdown. I'm not going to predict that they stop the Eagles from going on to score there because there's too much to know. But it's a game-altering plays. That's what these things are. And
this is the big thing. Everything that you're saying is exhilarated right here. Second half, you had to punt. You had a 4-play drive, a 3-play drive, another 3 and out later, 4 punts and a fumble, and you turned it over on downs. You had one drive that was longer than 6 plays. One in the whole second half.
And the only reason that was there was because of some favorable calls going the Chiefs' way on that. Otherwise, they're not doing anything.
It was stink up here. We have 3 drives in the second half that you ended up having more penalty yards than I think you had offensive yards. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
And yet they were solid on third down, better than the Eagles were by my last count. Let's double check that before I go talking out my
You know what?
No, they were still better. Just under 50%, where the Eagles were 3 for 11. 3 for 11 on third down, and they still won the ball game because you gave it to them. Game of Mahomes packages, they're going to say they got away from him. That's because they didn't put the correct emphasis on them. That all comes down to Matt Nagy and Andy Reid, and something's got to be done about it. Andy's going to be pissed, and I'm glad that's the case because he should.
I hope so. Yeah. Someone's got to be. I know people are saying, I've seen a couple comments about Matt Nagy being fired. Guys, Matt Nagy's not getting fired because guys were open. Guys were dropping the football. Like, let's be very honest about this. That Matt Nagy's not the fault here. And they just didn't adjust. Andy Reid, again, is the one calling plays. Can we stop with the Matt Nagy stuff? Please. I'm telling you right now. It's not him. It's not Matt Nagy calling plays. It's Andy Reid, because Andy Reid will never give it up. But yes, Andy Reid needs to start getting in people's butts. Like, bad.
Yeah. You can't be happy grandpa anymore doing commercials and shit. It's got to be, hey, you don't want to come to work if you keep screwing up like this. That's what it's got to turn into. And hey, tough love, sometimes you need it. Bradley, I hate to be the guy, but how much longer are we going to say, don't worry, 15 is our quarterback? As much as I need to be real, and I need to tell you that Patrick made mistakes tonight too, he is not the issue overall. This is not why there's losses. And I feel like almost that he actually is doing better in the second halves when everybody else is falling apart than what we see early, because I thought most of his miscues were early for him personally.
Yeah.
So I don't think we're there yet, and hopefully we won't get there, but we gotta let it ride for now. Godfrey, I appreciate you being in here last night and being a cool Eagles fan. And it's not that we don't like you. I like Jalen. We all love Jason. I'll tell you that. Nobody loves Jason Kelce more than Chiefs Kingdom except for the Eagles fan base. That's it.
Yeah.
But we're going to tell you, we're not happy with this. We should have beat you. Just saying.
Like, I'm not even mad. Like, I'm mad at the team. Like, I'm mad at the team. I'm not even mad at the game. Like, I watched that game and I'm like, okay. Okay, cool.
You want to know why I'm really mad?
Cool.
Because the first half was exactly my game plan. It's what I would do exactly to the T, and they messed it up. And that's why I'm mad.
And I think a lot of people are trying to put the deep balls blame on Patrick. No. Patrick's throwing away from safety help. Guys are turning. If you're going down the field and you win, you win vertically. Guess where there's help at? The middle of the field. So Patrick's not going to throw there. But you are all turning your routes inside for no reason. Multiple times that happened. There's got to
be something, though. There's too many guys doing that. Like, I don't know what the prep problem was, but there's too many guys doing that like, there's something systemic there.
Yeah.
Because that's an easy mistake nobody should be making.
It shouldn't happen multiple times in a football game.
Exactly.
It shouldn't happen.
Exactly. Oh, it's infuriating. Our drop passes can be fixed. Yes. They just had over 10 days to be on the jugs machine ad nauseum.
I don't know.
Didn't do nothing. So I hope you're right, buddy. We beat ourselves because of drops. Yep. MVS, hats off to the defense. Trent is a dog. Oscar, I'm glad you see it our way.
Absolutely.
T. Higgins must be a Chief in 2024. Oh, man. Do whatever it takes. Also, red zone turners have killed the team this season.
T is not fixing the problems with this offense right now. He's not fixing it.
Not enough. No, it's got to be more than that. Although I do like the combination of him and Rice together, but we'll play with that later.
They need guys that can still get open, though.
Yeah, true. You have to have somebody who can separate. Jalen Polk. But, folks, let me tell you this. The world where T. Higgins is a Chief means you don't have Cadarius Sneed or Chris Jones. So tell me how that looks.
Yeah, no.
I don't know, because I'm not picking it up for that myself. Werewolf, apparently Mahomes thought Rice was spelled Watson. Yeah, I mean, maybe you're dyslexic. I get that from time to time, but yeah, I don't know. I think it's I will give them credit. I saw Rice outside more. He certainly got the ball on the outside more. He ran a couple of whip routes. Like, he did a couple of things that I think they need to do. They're progressing there, but they got to accelerate the exchange because this just ain't working. It's going to cost you ball games. Marshall, so we're just going to watch KT flash and not use them, huh? Do you think it was enough, Dan? Do you think they should have just shifted that more to Cadarius?
Well, the problem is that they started using him at punt return again. And when you start using him at punt return, and you're going to tell yourselves you're still trying to keep his body. I saw him on the sidelines getting worked on. I saw it. You want to know why? It's because he's doing punt returns. We gotta stop it. Okay, I understand that he should have been had so many lost yards on punts today. Yes, he made it work, but those are poor decisions. They are poor decisions. Okay. You don't make those plays all the time. More than often than not, you're going to get hit. And we gave him so much confidence. Guess what? The Chiefs started with the ball on their last drive of the game inside the 10-yard line. Okay. So he needs to stop being the punt returner. Unfortunately, it was giving them an injection, but he hurts himself more on punt returns than he does doing, I think, anything else because of the way he violently stops his body. Violently.
Yeah.
And it's not good for his
his ACLs
longevity.
They have to ache. That's all.
Like tonight, he's gonna just be sitting in some ice baths, just his legs, and then going straight to like warm, hot, cold, hot, cold, hot, cold.
Right, he's gonna be a parka up top and like in the ice bath. He looks like a dude who is always cold too. By the way, between him and Jared McKinnon, always wearing the balaclava things, like those dudes have to be cold all the time.
Absolutely.
Marshall, thanks for the support, buddy. It's good to see you. Minotaur, nice to see you back. 26 months, you demand. Folks, if you want to join the ranks of Minotaur, get in the Discord, see all of our behind-the-scenes things where we tell it like it is in more colorful language than I will do on here, as well as my game notes and all of our extra content. You can sign up over there underneath Dan at the memberships. I almost got excited after the first half. Offense started working how we imagined. Then, yep, that's the way it goes.
Yeah.
And it is clearly something that Andy has to correct. He's got to stay on them. Whatever's happening in halftime, that shit's over. And here I go again. See, I don't try to do this on Monday night, but it's late. Somebody's got to be the adult in the room. And it can't be hey, Andy's shooting a commercial anymore, or hey, look, we were on TV again. Like, it's got to be, get your act together. This ain't over. Just because you're up 17-7 at half against the team that is actually better than you in rankings, in record, in everything else. And yes, you had to outscore them 38-35 in the Super Bowl. Like, don't get cocky that you're up. That's ridiculous, especially when Hassan Reddick's coming off the edge and Jawan Taylor's like, hey, I thought I was quick, but evidently I'm not quick enough.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It's a frustrating reality that they just aren't the team that makes those halftime adjustments. They aren't. The Eagles did that, and again, credit to them for taking full advantage of that, and the Chiefs haven't been able to do that all year. They don't score points in the second half, and they continuously find ways to beat themselves. So it's like a team that's consistently trying to say our defense is really, really good, so we're just going to keep leaning on them to make the big plays every single time. At some point, someone, again, like we said, it's got to step up. and they're not stepping up. They're consistently given the opportunity to make those plays, and they're not making them. At some point, something's got to change. These players that are being given the opportunities with the ball down the field that are dropping it, they need to be taken out of the football game. And until things change, that's just what you got to do. If you got to take some practice squad players and play them on Sundays to show maybe if they catch the football, hey, we'll play them out there instead of you. Something has to change. The definition, you guys all know that the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. We are here. They are expecting a different result every single time. These players are not clutch. Justin Watson has made some plays. Good for him. He's not a clutch player.
Yeah,
he's not.
I can't argue with you. That's the problem. Jeff, this is on Veach as well. Thinking Mahomes can overcome any deficit with lack of wide receiver talent. And I can understand where you're coming from, and thank you for the support. I will say this. I think Veach has done a good job at getting guys that he feels and the coaching staff feels they can develop to be weapons. It hasn't worked out that way, but I don't think it's Brett Veach saying, hey, this is enough talent. Patrick will be fine. You know, I think it is a conglomeration there too. So not to disagree with you wholeheartedly, Jeff, because I do see where you're coming from. Thanks for the support, pal. And Arg, I wish I could calm you down, but I'm still a little fiery. It'll get better as it goes on. And for those of you complaining that the commercials were shot in the offseason, yes, I know all that. But I still think that it's a distraction. When the guys go home and they should be studying their playbook and coaches on TV and whatever the hell else is going on. I just think it's silly.
I don't care. They've been doing commercials for the years they've won Super Bowls. I got no issues with it. Personally,
I think it's too much. I think it's over. I think I want it over. Let me put it that way. Cole, thank you, buddy. Appreciate the support there. Fourth straight game scoreless in the third quarter. 3 straight scoreless in the entire second half. Why? I mean, if we knew that, we'd fix it. I need the bat phone into the team facility if I knew that. I don't know what the holdup is or what. I can understand the holding back on Tony because they, were concerned about the injury and honestly general frailty the guy has. But you disagree?
No, I'm sorry. You were kind of cool for the most part, Godfrey, but that last comment doesn't need to be said. Like,
oh, come on. It was going so nicely, too. Dang it. Cole, we'll try to figure it out for you, buddy. Thanks for the support. And thank you, Bashko. Glad that the bye week fixed the offense. Yeah. Every year you're going to find something that's an outlier. Clearly, that's what this is right now.
Yeah.
The question for me is like, is it just this group of kids? And let's be real. This is a young roster. Did they just allow it to get too young in too many places that are important for the offense? I don't know. And how fast does that get turned around? Experience is a good thing, but we'll find out. Cody, 24 might be good in this rain 10-inch. I'm not keeping up with that one.
Nope, I got no idea. 24 would have been good to score, but maybe. Oh, the 10-inch hands, yeah, probably.
Yeah,
this
right.
guy's got,
Yeah.
I don't know, guys. All I know is right now that there's a lot of people that don't like Sky Moore, which again, I understand all that. The option or the alternative is Justin Watson with 11 targets. So I tell you, you tell me, okay? You tell me which one you'd rather want, because I know the answer to the question.
There's two sides to that coin. You ain't gonna like either one of them. Mike, hope you're doing well. Thanks for being with us for 29 months, dude. You're the man. Problem is we don't scare anyone other than Trav. No rhythm or confidence on our receivers. It is a problem. Yes, it is. How do they get there? I mean, obviously, you're not adding players at this point in the season. You've got to figure it out with the dudes that you have, or you're just going to struggle. Or maybe you just keep doing what was working. Maybe you run the ball effectively. Maybe you got a 4th down and 1 today. Maybe there's a glimmer of hope to maintain the damn balance.
3rd and short success today was awesome. They ran the ball consistently on it, and they did a little bit of creativity. That's cool, but they were able to, for the most part, line up and run the ball on those 3rd and shorts, and then mix in some passes, which was nice. It was nice to see. I just want to let this be known because I called it, I believe, yesterday on our live that L'Jarius Sneed would have an interception. He did have an interception today, and boom. I know that people are saying, well, he got beat bad by by Brown.
Joe
I'm like,
Buck said it. Don't listen to
no,
Joe
like,
Buck.
I mean, people are trying to. I mean, he was by him, but there's a reason he's sitting underneath the route. It's all out blitz. You think that ball's going downfield? No, it's not going downfield. If anything, it's going short. And the L'Jarius Sneed has enough speed to keep up with him, regardless. Like, he doesn't care. It was bait. It was a bait job the whole way. So yes, interception. This guy.
Just for future reference, everyone, don't listen to Joe Buck. Okay. If you're watching the World Series, go listen to Joe Buck. If he's on Monday Night Football, just turn the sound off. You'll have a better experience. I'm just going to tell you.
If everybody wants to feel a little bit better, feel a little bit better about this. Every year the Chiefs play the Bills in the regular season, they lose close games to the Bills in the regular season every year. They beat them every year in the postseason. So, by the transitive property we have, if the Chiefs meet the Eagles in the Super Bowl, they will win that football game.
Oh, you're killing me. I did not expect that one. Folks, if you want to try to support the quarterback, maybe if you get the MVP logo on your noggin, it'll turn his luck around. I don't know. Check out the gear in the gear store. There's a link down below, and you can get the lid Dan has on my stuff. You can get the Rogue Nation gear as well. We would appreciate the support, as we always do. Charles, thank you for the support here. Not only a member, but a super chat as well. Wrong routes, no deep ball skills, can't catch. Teams don't even have to respect the deep pass anymore. Worst deep ball offense in the NFL. A lot of those things are true. The respect is the one that I'm most concerned about, because if you either have to have respect or you have to have fear. And right now, I don't know if they have any.
They got guys open downfield multiple times in this football game, and
yeah,
was any one of those balls completed? No, not one of them. So defenses are like, hey, we can have a slip up here and there. Either they're going to run a wrong route, they're going to be overthrown, or they're going to drop it. We're not really that worried.
Yeah, we can absorb that. Thanks, buddy. Game Mahomes, thank you. Can someone explain the first TD in the second half all season? One TD in the second half all season, and why we have DBs playing wide receiver? I have no faith in the offense. Pops went off. I mean, I have faith in the offense to show up for a half. I just can't count on them to finish it. Anything. Oh, appreciate you, Mahomes.
The one touchdown thing in the second half, again, is it comes back to second half adjustments. Mm-hmm. When things are working well in the first half, the defense on the opposite side says, okay, we know what we have to do now. Stop this. Force their wide receivers to beat us. That's the main problem. When you find success in the first half, the defense says, okay, we'll take this away, and then we will force their wide receivers to beat us. And guess what? They can't do it. And everyone knows it. So that's the thing standing in the Chiefs' way right now, is that when it comes to the second half adjustments, they have to find a way to be either more creative in the second half with their players, or stop doing exactly what the team expects from them, which is go back to the well and then force yourself into second and long and third and long situations, because that's exactly what happened today. Again, they went back to the run game early. They got penalties. They got behind in terms of their play clock in their head, and then they went away from it because they couldn't do it anymore, and the Eagles took it away.
Yeah, I mean, you can't allow that to happen. You have to still have that edge that you are the king, and don't let them get that advantage on you. Folks, we're going to speed up here. The pressers are ongoing, it looks like, and I'm getting some notices I need to be able to do Locked On Chiefs here soon, so we're going to run through these super chats, and we'll talk about whatever Dan's laughing about here in a moment.
Yes, we will.
Feels like Mahomes is constantly missing easy first downs, staring down Kelce and Watson. I can't imagine sustainable. No, it's not, and that's what we're seeing. And it is sometimes that some plays are designed to go to a guy. Sometimes it's completely just make the read and get the ball out. I felt like they came out in the second half and they had the right idea. The tempo was up. He was getting the ball out. It just felt like no one else was prepared, to be quite honest. And that's the biggest problem. Thanks, Kale. I appreciate you. KT, I only said that because retirement is on his mind. Okay, I'm with you. I can get down with that. I don't see any way that we could have trade up to get a tackle or wide receiver, do whatever it takes. Nick, I won't argue with you. I mean, Dan, is it absolute at this point for you?
Yeah, for me it is. They have to. They have to get somebody, and they got to stop just sitting around. And yes, they went up and got Trent McDuffie. Worked out fantastic. Maybe try that again. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe try that again. Maybe worked out for you last time.
Here's an idea.
Go get good players. Don't wait for good ones to fall to you because they typically don't.
There you go. Thank you, Nick, and thank you, Jackson. Welcome to the memberships. I know you've been here a short time, but appreciate you being here. I'm to the point now. Let's see. I just had that screen pop up on me. I'm to the point. Just put McDuffie on offense since he's the only Chiefs playmaker. I've officially thrown in the towel on a wide receiver room. I hear you. I don't know how well he'd run routes, but now now you gave me a good idea.
I'm thinking about it. I'm thinking about it.
Dang. I mean, yeah. Chiefs need to fire Nagy or Embry. William, I get that. You can't do either of those things right now because, quite frankly, somebody's got to help Andy. I at the end of the day, I understand being frustrated with Nagy. Nagy doesn't have the counterpoint. Here's the problem. It's not that Nagy's bad or Andy's bad. It's that they think a lot more alike than he and Eric Bieniemy did. Eric Bieniemy was way more of a counterpoint to Andy Reid than Nagy is.
I think the people are seeing what happened with the Bills against the Jets yesterday and trying to equate the firing of an offensive coordinator to making that move. So the big difference in this situation is that Sean McDermott is a defensive head coach. So he puts the entire offense on his offensive coordinator. There were things that changed from going from their offensive coordinator to Joe Brady. Things were very different. If Andy Reid fires Matt Nagy, there is nothing changing in this offense. There's nothing. There's literally zero, okay? So I understand being frustrated with Matt Nagy. I absolutely understand that. I fully understand it. Again, I do think he needs to step up and hold some people accountable, which that needs to be his part going forward too. They have to start showing that. But to put the offensive structure to blame when guys are dropping touchdowns, I can't get on board with that. I can't.
Yeah. I mean, it is a group. And honestly, I think it would bog down the play recall and everything else if you went without an offensive coordinator. And I don't think there's anybody else ready on the staff, including and I like Jay, but I don't think he's ready to step into that role, to be honest. So maybe we see something in the offseason, but I don't think we're there yet. And Marshall, yeah, it's the same situation as Nagy. I'm sorry, as Bieniemy. Nagy's actually the guy in Patrick's ear calling in the play. So he's always actually making the call to Patrick. But it's the discussion before that between Andy and him. And I think Mike Frazier's up on a headset in the booth as well. He runs their analytics, and that's the down-to-down tendencies and that kind of thing. So it's a bigger conversation than it feels like it should be, but it is. Appreciate you, though. And Mike, appreciate you. Thanks for the support. Can we get Veach help in the front office, someone who knows wide receivers? Maybe say screw it and trade up and get one of the elite ones in the draft. I mean, yeah. I mean, unfortunately, I still feel left tackle is more important right now. As frustrating as the wide receiver room is, left tackle is more important to me. So you can only really trade up for one of those. So I'd probably do that, but I like the trade up idea. And, you know, there's been some churn in the front office. But Ryan Nutt knows wide receivers. A couple of those guys, especially the older ones, have scouted wide receivers for a very long time. I don't necessarily think that it's a scouting issue.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and say it kind of is. I'll be very honest. They've targeted players, and they haven't really worked out. Rasheed Rice is the one right now that is working out. They targeted McCole Hardman, maybe by mistake in terms of what they thought was going on. They targeted Sky Moore. The trade down was clearly to say, well, he's going to fall to us. We assume so. And again, multiple other wide receivers that have not panned out. I'm saying, guys, I'm pretty good at evaluating wide receivers that can succeed in the NFL. Josh Downs was I was a really big fan of his. He's been very good this season. There's a lot of other receivers that are doing pretty well in the NFL. If you guys want some help scouting wide receivers, I am available to do that for you. But before we get going on this is what I was laughing about. You guys, our mutual friend Charles Goldman over at A to Z Sports. This is so funny. I cracked up laughing because I love this movie, and this is the perfect gift for what's happening right now.
That is pretty good. I mean, hey, stranger things could happen. I mean, can we just bench somebody for a week or two and see what happens?
Yeah, just don't play someone. Just say, hey, you've been dropping passes left and right. Hey, so just take a week off.
Mike, I appreciate you. Thanks for the support, buddy. You too, Aaron. Just want to say good job, guys. Did
Thank
Spags
you.
blitz Duff and Sneed too much? I honestly don't think so. I don't think the plays they gave up. Honestly, the only problem that I had with what we saw late in the game was there was never in a world where Mike Edwards should be singled up on Devontae Smith. That was a miscalculation. At some point, you just got to shift out of that. Somebody's got to call a timeout if you have to, because that was just, especially with a free release, like that was going to be ugly from the get-go. But
Yeah,
no, did
tough.
you feel the blitz volume was too big?
No, I just think that the Eagles were able to catch them in a couple of them. I think they did a good job for the most part. And then you saw them kind of take the foot off the gas there when they got the rushing touchdown off one of the blitzes, and we saw that kind of go the other way. But I think that Spags did a great job in this football game. Again, they had some chunk plays. AJ Brown was a non-factor. When's the last time you could say that AJ Brown was a non-factor in a football game? He didn't do anything for it. One catch for 8 yards. I think that's what his stat line.
I'm double checking that right now. And you are absolutely right. 4 targets, 1 catch, 8 yards. So
he's gone.
So for all of you who are hoping that L'Jarius Sneed will come back, this performance right here will be talked about around the league anytime there's a free agent. Yeah,
and then they're going to bring up how many penalties he has, and that's going to keep his price down a little bit because teams don't want that. But we do.
That nobody else.
Good with it. I'm good with it.
Aaron, thanks for your support, pal. Jeremy, where I miss EB is someone to get in their backside on the sideline. I agree with that completely. And honestly, on the practice field every damn day, it needs to happen. Yeah. And I do agree that there's been a loss of an edge, of an accountability, of hey, he's going to come down on you if you keep screwing up. So that part, I completely agree with you. I don't know about the X's and O's so much. It does feel rustier to me. But honestly, this was the best run game they've had, even in the Eric Bieniemy genre. They were running the ball really well. They were at 6.3 yards a carry at one point. I mean, it was redonkulous. And that's maybe, arguably, you tell me, Dan, the best defensive front in football.
Yeah, they were the best run defense in football. They were. And the first half didn't look like it. And then again, they adjusted. Like, that's what that was. Like, it was the adjustment to doing what they do. Like, they stopped it and they said, we're done. Like, we're not letting it happen. Make your wide receivers beat us. And guess what? They couldn't. They kept dropping the football. I'm just mad. I'm mad at the wide receivers, guys. I'm so mad. Like, I'm ready to take back everything I've ever said about them for the most part. Like, I'm just so mad at the wide receiver room and the drops. Imagine a world where the Chiefs don't have 26 drops at wide receiver. Do we talk about how bad it is? Do we talk about how bad it is? I don't think we do.
At least it's worth 2 W's right there. At least.
We're talking 9-1 if they don't have multiple drops. So yeah, that's the biggest, and we're spending so much time talking about the wide receivers because it's been such an eyesore. It's magnified every single time because of what I talked about earlier. When defenses take away what you're doing well and force those wide receivers to beat you, they know that they can't do it.
Agreed. HG Dreamin', nice to see you again. Appreciate the support as always.
Thank you.
Thank you, buddy. Daniel, instead of T. Higgins, what about Brandon Ayuk? I mean, you're going to have to spend about the same money. I just don't think the Niners will let anyone outbid them. I think it's going to be another Trent Williams situation where the Chiefs will throw their best money at it, and they'll still come up short.
Because Brock Purdy is literally essentially an undrafted free agent quarterback, they will throw the bag at him, rightfully so. He's a better receiver than T. Higgins. He's a better receiver.
Yeah, all the way around. I mean, explosivity, he can go up and get the ball nearly as good as Higgins. I mean, what maybe little advantage Higgins has is just in that one area. Like, I would take Ayuk almost over just about anybody, especially age-wise. Good God. Yeah. Daniel, thank you for bringing that up. Callie, I hope you had a good time, buddy. I saw your seats, and I'm a little jealous, I got to tell you.
I'll tell you right now.
Maybe Callie, stop going to ball games.
So I've been in the same scenario. I've been to each Chiefs versus Bills game the last couple of seasons in the regular season, and they've lost all of them. And that's okay because they beat them in the postseason. Just try to think about what happens when you go to these games and then when they make it in the postseason. Like, just try to get to there. Try to get there with your own mental state, because that's the hard part. That's the hard part.
I understand that. But Kai, I do hope you had a good time. Miss Holly, nice to see you in the house. Nice to see everyone coming in. Oh yeah, some late arrivals. I love it. Scuba
Loving
Steve,
it,
hope you're doing good. Haven't been this mad in a long time. All I needed was a Chiefs to win and get $200. Oh, not happy with MBS. Hope there's a rant this week. Oh, there will be. There'll probably be two of them.
I'm going to tell you guys right now, it's going to be a time crunch with film stuff. I'm not sure if we're going to be able to get to it this week because of Thanksgiving and the Monday Night Football game and lots of stuff going on. We're going to try to get something, a small one, maybe we do a small one for you guys, but there will be a rant. Oh, there will be a rant.
Yes, there will.
Oh, there will be a rant.
Missed the film. Let's not. Well, Dan, we'll take it easy this week. Let's do the rant, folks. You can get the rants in the memberships because I'm just not willing to put them out on the public side. So sorry to force that on you, but that's kind of the way that I feel. So we're going to leave it at that. Scuba, appreciate you, buddy. Kyle, doesn't feel like we've lost. Doesn't it feel like we've lost the magic? We used to know no matter time or deficit we could win. Now that's gone. No more believe. Wow, dude. See, I'm not there yet.
Yeah, no.
I'm pissed, but only because of missed opportunity again. Like Dan said earlier, the only team that beats this team is this team.
That's the big bugaboo right now, right? It does feel an awful lot like the 2021 Chiefs, where they just kept beating themselves. They continued to beat themselves, and it caught them and it bit them in the AFC Championship game. So I'm not sure. And guys, just for all the guys that are talking about Matt Nagy, Eric Bieniemy was the offensive coordinator of that team too, and they had so many problems and execution things and things like that. So there's a lot of systemic issues when you have this many inconsistencies. It's execution based, and it's hard to put that on any offensive coach. It's hard to do that. It's these players, and like we've been talking about a lot, is they don't have someone that's going to bench them. There's almost no repercussions for the bad things that are happening. Even Bieniemy wasn't benching people. Like there's almost no repercussions for this kind of stuff, and that's not a good thing in my opinion. I think that putting guys out there after continued abuse in this way only gives them a reason to not, I guess, get better. I know they're frustrated. Losing games like that is not fun, but there's no repercussions. I mean, I'm on the outside looking in. I can't say there's none because I don't know, but
they're not outside, and that's all we can comment on, obviously. But that's it is what it is. But Marshall, we agree with you. Like there needs to be accountability, whatever it is. It doesn't seem to be working at whatever level of it is. So let's up that. Let's have some repercussions. Appreciate you, man. YouTube, Brian. Appreciate the sticker. I didn't see a comment, but if you have one, shoot it back at me. Ryan D. Wide receiver room getting rebuilt this offseason. I love the offensive line in Tampa Bay. Possibly. Each took a shot at a cheap wide receiver group, and it hasn't worked. Agreed. Cheap, yes, but cheap because they're young, not because they weren't, like they went out and got free agents and didn't spend. You know what I mean? Like they're trying to invest, much like they did in the corners last year. They're trying to invest in the wide receivers now to get them to grow. And maybe they just haven't given the right fertilizer yet. I don't know, but I think that's what the plan is supposed to be.
Yeah, it's tough, man. And you hope that Patrick can elevate these players. And I'll tell you right now, Patrick was doing his best to elevate them in the second half of the game. He was. Like, he didn't play great in the first half. Obviously the interception, but he absolutely gave them the opportunity to make plays. And I guess sometimes you have to stop throwing the football right in their hands, Patrick. I don't know what else to tell you. I don't know what else to say.
Yeah, it is what it is. MVS dropped far worse than the sky drop for the TV.
For sure.
Yeah, I have to agree on that. Just man, 2 hands on it. You're the experienced vet. Patrick. You probably have the most connection with him of anybody who's been on this roster this season. So yeah. Appreciate you, Marshall. No more excuses. Someone has to hold the wide receivers accountable. Agree with you, Jose. Yeah, and I'm guessing it's going to be a long week here, or a long short week for them, because somebody's got to do that. I don't know how it's going to change, but something's got to change. Quenta Coffee, thank you, sir. Appreciate you very much. I am done with people saying that Nagy isn't responsible for this. We are now 15th in the NFL in offense after being number 1 for 6 years. If the offensive coordinator isn't responsible the offense, what is he responsible for? He's responsible for answering to the head coach. That's what it is. And in this situation, well, I get what you're saying is that should be his responsibility. But again, I go back to Andy has veto over everything. And I just feel like as much as like we got tired of the enemy and we didn't know like what he was bringing other than the accountability factor, something was there that I think clearly offered more accountability and preparation and execution than what we're seeing now. But they're running the ball better now. I think that the offense is a little less creative, which I'm shocked to say, to tell you the truth, between Bieniemy and Nagy. I'm surprised by that. Does that catch you off guard?
Well, I don't agree with you that they're running the ball better because they haven't been. They're
okay.
They were one of the worst running offenses before today in the NFL. So
I'm not talking about execution. I'm talking about the fact that they're dedicating themselves to running the ball more. The percentage is up. They're using it. They're trying to get back to balance.
They're trying, and their offensive line just hasn't been very good, which doesn't help their situation. And Matt Nagy can, I guess, kind of do that, but I just don't know, again, what he's doing, because we don't obviously have anything on the inside about this, but their offensive line in terms of running the ball has not been very good, and it's led to some behind the chains thinking. But we talk about this a lot, is that Matt Nagy, again, he helps bring ideas to the table, which is the point. And Andy Reid likes to have people that have the same kind of ideals as he does, but also has challenges to it. And I think Nagy's time as a head coach at least gave him some experience on how maybe not to do stuff. And there's also some Andy Reid getting a little bit stubborn. Andy Reid can be stubborn. We've seen Andy Reid be stubborn. But the idea that like Andy Reid's not calling plays and Matt Nagy's responsible for that, when everyone argued that Andy Reid's calling plays and Eric Bieniemy is not, it doesn't make any sense to me. So this is we've fought about Eric Bieniemy calling plays for years when we've all kind of landed on Andy Reid's the guy that does it, and then Matt Nagy's now the offensive coordinator and he's the one calling plays now. I don't know. I'm trying to figure it out myself, but I believe that Matt Nagy needs to take more of an enforcer responsibility and holding people accountable. I will say that, but to the offensive schematics, it's Andy Reid.
At the end of the day, it's always him. It will always be. William, you said my last comment was too negative. I just want to see the discipline in the offense is the most undisciplined in football, and that is totally legit. I mean, just the penalties and drops. And these are things that they went away to the bye knowing they had to go fix. Like Andy talked about it. The fact that he brought it up in public himself means that they were looking at it and they were talking. Just didn't find an effective solution. Appreciate you though, William, and you too, Leon. Don't worry, we're not losing the rest of the season. I do love that. In fact, man, I'm pinning you for the rest of the day, unless I have to answer other super chats. So thank you, appreciate you, Leon.
That's awesome.
Let's see. What would you do with wide receivers if you were Reid? I mean, go with it, Dan. What would be your plan today after this frustration?
After today, Justin Watson and MVS, you guys are riding the bench. That's what you're doing. I'm going to probably put you down inactive, like be inactive. We're going to bring up some young players from the practice squad, and then we're going to roll with it that way. I'm done. Something has to change. There has to be other players that can make something happen. They can catch the football. I don't even care if you don't throw the ball down the field at all. Like in terms of past 20 yards, 15 and in, figure it out. That's what I would do. But again, I'm about trying to make these guys not play right now. I think the offense would be better used if they weren't playing. And also they need a game to kind of think about what they need to do better.
I would start Rice and more on the outside and Tony in the slot. And I would let McCole run the jet, whatever you're going to do with it this week, and not ask Cadarius to do that. And I would just attack in the 8 to 16 yard range and do it all day long and be a surgeon with it. I don't need the giant chunks. I just need first downs. No. That actually felt good to say. Not all the wide receivers I can think of. One Rice. I must have referenced something because I'm not getting that one.
Yeah, we're a little bit behind. I think we might be a little bit behind that.
Okay, fair enough. We're going to wrap it up here, folks, so that we can get over to Matt Derrick's going to join us on Locked On Chiefs as he always does post game. We're getting ready for that. Is Richie James going to help this wide receiver, or is he just another guy on the roster?
Hey, that's a good question. I don't know. We haven't seen him play.
Cheers to you. I mean, here's an idea of what we just said. If you do sit down Watson in MVS, at least he's a guy that has a veteran presence. And he's probably got to play inside on the slot, so he forces everybody else outside. And if you're really looking to just have somebody with experience in the room, maybe it works.
Maybe. Like I said, again, if you want to put Rashee Rice on the outside as your Z, you can still run Sky as your X, I guess, if that's what you want, whoever that's going to be. And then you bring in Richie James to be your slot guy and rotate it in. I don't know. All I know is that something's going to happen. If he can be a guy that can help move the chains a little bit, I'm all for it.
I'm totally with you. Brock, thank you. Thank you, Dorian. Who the hell is Connor Embry, and why do they think he is a good choice for wide receiver coach? He's Don Embry's son, and who is very close to Eric Bieniemy, and he came in here as a quality control coach because he knows Eric Bieniemy, and he is a young coach that's trying to learn how to coach wide receivers in the NFL. That's the way the NFL works, folks. If I had more friends in the NFL when I was younger, that's where I'd be. That's the way
right.
Michael, thank you. What wide receiver would you draft as one? And this is perfect because we're going to end on the future here with our last super chat tonight. So thank you guys for all the support. Make sure you like, sub, and hit the bell, all 1,100 of you. Appreciate you. Right now, just fit wise, not necessarily who's wide receiver one, but in that range, second tier, whatever. Who do you like fit wise? Who would you go after?
I mean, 12 to 20 range, we're probably approaching the Keon Coleman's of the world into 12. I think that's where you're looking at. I'm still of the opinion you trade up to like 2021 and get Troy Franklin. I think Troy Franklin's the guy that I would go get right now. I mean, if you're going up to 12, Keon Coleman makes some sense. He's got size. He has good footwork. He's still learning as a route runner, but his experience as a punt returner gives him some quick twitch ability in the short area, which can make guys miss. So he's the guy, like if he's there around 12 and you can get up that high, sure, you go get him. But I think Rome Odunze would be probably close to that position as well. And if I'm trading up, I don't know. Again, there's a lot of going on right now with wide receivers, and I've got like Rome, and I have Keon, and I have Malik Neighbors in like this really tight group, and I don't know what's happening with the quarterbacks and stuff like that. So if they're around 12, I'm probably going to go up.
Yeah. I mean, and here's what funny thing, and shout out to Jordan Travis, terrible injury, but it's not a coincidence that all three of those receivers have three quarterbacks that we're going to be talking at the top of the draft as well.
For sure.
And it's funny because you have them clustered that way. I have Rome as a top 10 guy that will be number 2 off the board at the position. We'll see who's right later after we have 1,000 discussions about wide receivers this offseason.
Yeah.
Any of those names, if they were to fall into the 12 range, I'm perfectly comfortable with that. And if you have to wait till 22, my guy Polk is the guy that I can see slotting right into this offense nearly as easily as I saw Rice. So, hey, cheers to them. There's a million options out there, and we're only going to have more as it goes on. So, Michael, thanks for your super chat.
Appreciate you.
And think about the future of there are options out there. It's going to get there. So, you guys have a great night. We're going to be over on Locked On Chiefs in a few minutes, so you can check that out as well. Dan, thanks for being here as always and trying to keep me sane so I don't go off the rails.
We're all going off the rails tonight, guys. All of us.
It's a crazy train. Go listen to Ozzy. You guys have a good night. We'll talk to you tomorrow.